This is the Sculpey Bake Shop Monster Maker. This kit is perfect for kids to create together. Whether you're planning a birthday party, a rainy day activity, camp activity, or just any time kids want to be creative. You get everything you need for 12 kids to each make one of these fun monsters, and there are 4 to choose from. This is the Bake Shop Monster Maker glow-in-the-dark party for 12. You get these fantastic step-by-step instructions so that you can easily complete your monster. There's everything you need here for 12 people to each make one monster. You get a plastic knife tool, chenille stems, toothpicks, 13 1-ounce bars of Bake Shop in white, turquoise, and black, and also a glow-in-the-dark 1-ounce bar of Sculpey 3. It's really important to divide your clays up evenly so that everybody gets the right amount of clay for their monster. If you open the instruction book, right here on the first page, you're going to find a simple map that helps you understand how the clay should be divided. It's great if an adult can help with the knife tool and just start sectioning the clays into pieces. So all of the white clays should be divided in half. You get 6 bars of white. So when you divide these in half, now we have 12 bars, which makes a perfect amount for all 12 people to have the right amount of white. Do the same with the turquoise. The turquoise gets divided right in half. Just push down evenly and kind of rock back and forth with the knife tool, and this will make a nice straight cut. Now we should have 12 pieces of turquoise. Finally, divide the green, the glow-in-the-dark green, in half, and then turn the half section sideways so that now the bar is in fourths. And then each of these little pieces needs to be into thirds. So just use the tip of my tool. And there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 pieces of glow-in-the-dark green. The black is the exact same way. We need 12 pieces, so start with a half. Cut each of those in half. Then cut each piece into 3 equal sections. Just make them as equal as you can. And that's all for dividing the clay. The clay is ready to go. Let's look at a few more details about the instructions. Each individual monster has step-by-step instructions and an inspiration photo so that you know what he's supposed to look like when he's all done. The book is marked with cut lines so that you can easily separate the book into different step-by-step instructions so that multiple children can create all at once. Let's make Twinkle Toes first. This adorable little monster. You just need a half a block of white, a half a block of turquoise, 1/12 of glow-in-the-dark green, and 1/12 of black. So I'm turning to the page in my booklet that shows me how to make Twinkle Toes, and there's a cute little map here of all the ways I'm going to divide the clay, and also the shapes are laid out for me and the inspiration photo. First, I'm going to make the body. It takes the entire bar of white clay. And you always want to condition your clay before you begin. That just means to knead it like dough, to make it soft and smooth and pliable. I just use my fingertips and push it around. And pretty soon I can feel that all those outside edges have been moved to the inside and that the clay is really soft and squishy and easy to manipulate. To make the body part, I'm going to start with a ball. And I think the ball is just the most easiest place to start for almost any shape. Then I'll roll it slightly oval, and I'm going to push this down on my work surface till it makes a thick pancake. Then at this point, I can start manipulating the clay to make more of a definite shape. And Twinkle Toes has this little divot in the top of his head, And then he has these little pieces that come out to the sides for ears. But that's really the basic shape of Twinkle Toes' body, as you can see right there. So just lay that down for now, and we'll move on to the blue parts. So for the blue parts, you need this piece of clay divided into 4 sections. And it breaks real easy, so I'll just break it into 4 little pieces. And this is for the hands and feet. And I actually want my feet to be a little bit bigger than my hands. So I'm going to break off little bits from 2 of these sections and add those to the others. Okay? Next, start conditioning the clay with your fingertips, and guess what? Make a ball. A ball is the simplest place to start. Then start shaping this by pinching on the sides into kind of a big fat triangle, and that will be one of the hands. I'm shaping the other hand next so that I can hopefully get them pretty much the same size, a ball, and then pinching into a triangle form. And I think those look equal enough for monsters. This will be one of the feet. Condition and shape into a ball. And then this is a bigger piece, so I want to pull my tip out a little bit longer for the foot. And just leave the toe area kind of rounded like that. And then this will be the second foot. See all those little cracklies on the edge? Pretty soon those go away, and you know that all the clay is nice and smooth. It's ready to go. Pull this out into a little tip and leave the front rounded. All right, now quickly I'm going to clean my hands just a bit. I have some blue transferred onto my hands, and that's totally normal and natural for the brighter colors to get picked up by your fingertips. You can wipe this off with a paper towel or with a baby wipe or a handy wipe. Comes off really easily. And now we're ready to touch the white without leaving blue marks on it. So first I want to position the feet underneath, and I'm positioning the tiny tip or the little tip of the feet underneath the body. And it's important to have all that space where the 2 different colors touch so that they stay connected. Now I can just push the body down on top of the feet. Then I want to pull the ends of my hands out just a little bit more and make a flat part here that can wrap around the back. And repeat with this side. You want to have really good connections when you're sculpting little figures, so that flat part on the back, let me show you how that looks, makes a nice wraparound that will make that connection quite strong. Then you can pose the hands how you would like them. Okay, there's how he looks so far. Let's set that aside and work on the face details. We'll do the green first. Divide the green in half, and half of this will be the mouth. Then divide the remaining half in half again, and we have enough clay for eyes and enough clay for ears. So for the mouth, let's just shape this into a little rope. Once the clay is soft in your fingertips, then just make a long little rope, and then it will be bent up on the sides like that for a big smile. And I'm going to flatten it slightly before I put it on his face. The little mouth goes right down here. Your fingertip pressure is what helps the clay stick to each other, helps the different layers of clay stick. And then when it goes in the oven, it becomes cured all together as one piece. For the eyes, I divided one of those little pieces in half, and I'm going to make 2 little thick pancakes, which start out with balls and then squeeze them or press them down to flatten them. These go right above the mouth, and they're kind of touching, kind of funny monster eyes that touch in the middle. And then this remaining piece, let's divide it in half again, and let's shape these into little triangle shapes. For a triangle, you start with a ball and then pull one tip out and push 2 more tips to the bottom. then you can just use your fingers to make it even more triangular. So roll it into a ball, pull out a tip, and then push a flat bottom, which makes 2 more tips. And these are ready to go on the top on the ears, just to give the ears a little more detail. Okay, so far so good. Now let's just take a little piece of this black. We don't need all of it. Set the extra aside. And I'm just going to roll enough to have 2 little equal-sized pupils. Just make a little ball and put these kind of put them in the middle toward each other, because it gives your monster more of a funny look when his pupils meet in the middle. Then you can use your toothpick to make little tooth marks like this. You can also use your toothpick to indent toe lines and finger lines. Just use the side of the toothpick and push in as deeply as necessary to create those little cartoon-like lines. And your Twinkle Toes monster sculpture is all done and ready to go in the oven and bake following the baking instructions. Unifred is the monster who's up next. So let's divide the clay for Unifred. From the white, first we want to section this in half, and I'm just doing my best to break it right down the middle. Then you need half divided in half, and each one of those halves will be for the legs. The other piece, which is a half, we want to divide into thirds, and I'll use my toothpick to score it, and then that will help me break it a little bit better. So those will be for the eye, 1 eye and 2 arms. The body is the turquoise piece used whole. For the green, the glow-in-the-dark green, we need to section this in half. 1 half goes in half again, and that leaves us a piece for the mouth and for the horn. And then this little piece is going to turn into 6 toenails. So I think the easiest way to make a lot of little pieces and try to make them equal is to roll it into a little rope and then divide the rope into the proportions that you need. In this case, 6 little toenails. I'll get those out of my way. The last piece is the black, and we need to divide this in half. Set 1 half aside as extra. The last piece is half of it is for the horn and half of it is for the eye. So up here I want to make sure I understand that those are my 6 toenails and these are my horn and eye pieces. Got my toothpick kind of dirty, so I'm wiping that off. Let's start with the body shape first. Unifred has sort of a pear-shaped body. So just grab all of the clay in one hand, and I'm turning to my Unifred page. There's Unifred. Make a ball. Make sure your clay is nice and conditioned to a soft, consistent consistency, like so. And then I always start by rolling into a ball. But to get that pear-shaped body for Unifred, I'm just pinching one end of the ball and pulling it out like a pear. And then you leave the other end nice and round for Unifred's body. So there we have the basic shape that we need. Now we can set that down. Now I have some blue on my fingertips, and I'm just going to wipe that off real quickly with a paper towel or with a wipe. We don't want to transfer that to the white clay, and it comes off really easily, so it's easy to have good technique. The 2 larger pieces that we cut from the white are the feet. The feet are also going to be kind of pear-shaped. So start with a ball and then just pull the clay out from one side, and there you have that little nice pear shape. Now Unifred's feet are kind of flat on the bottom, so I go ahead and make those flat right now. Make the other piece match. When you see me working the clay between my fingers, this is called conditioning. And see how the clay at first gets kind of those little rough, ragged edges when you push on it, and then all of a sudden those just disappear because all the clay is working together nicely to make a nice smooth piece. Make a ball and then pull out for the top of Unifred's leg. Then push on the bottom to make it flat. Now if we want to, we could go ahead and set Unifred up. Just position the feet in front how you want them, and if you put them kind of at angles, it'll help him sit up better. Make sure his feet kind of point upward. Next, let's make the arms. The arms are really similar to the feet, but they just have a longer arm shape which hooks onto the sides of Fred's body. Make the ball and then pull out a long skinny shape. Leave a little club on the end like that. Then if you take your toothpick and push in, you've got little fingers for Unifred. There's one, and we need another one for his other arm. Conditioning to be soft and smooth. Roll into a ball. Pull the arm shape out. Flatten a hand, and then push in some little fingers. So if I set Unifred facing me, then I can position one arm on the side of each side of his body and just push those into place. And then you can position his hands however you want them. He could be reaching out to grab you or your little sister, or he could just be sitting there resting after he's woke up from his big monster nap. This piece is going to be used for that big fat eyeball on the front of his face. And this piece might be a little too big, but it's so easy to just make it smaller. Roll it into a ball and then attach it to the front of his face. I'm kind of doming the sides down so that it looks like it's actually coming out of his face and not just a thing that was stuck on the front. So there's what we have so far. Next, let's add the details. One of these pieces of green, we've got these two that are the same, and these 6 little ones for toenails. One of these pieces of green is for the mouth. So just make a little ball and then slightly pancake it like so, and stick this. And Unifred looks cute with his mouth kind of off to the side, like he's kind of talking out the side of his head. And then poke a hole in. And if you move your toothpick around and around, you can make the hole even bigger. Okay? And then the other piece of green is for his little horn on top. So roll that piece into a little rope. Wipe your hands. And then take one of those little black pieces and roll it into a rope about the same size. And this is a fun way to learn a beginning technique in oven-baked clay. People do this all the time. They twist colors together to make marbled beads or other types of projects, and this is a really great way to begin that skill. Now for Unifred's horn, I am tapering one end and making the other end fat, and then I'm just kind of rolling it to smooth. And the lines don't have to be all equal. This is a monster, so it needs to look kind of quirky and whimsical. And then just push that down on the top. Then you can point his horn whichever direction you want to. Finally, we have the big black pupil that goes in the middle of the eye. So start, you guessed it, with a ball. Make a flat pancake and press that to the front of the eye. Unifred just has one eye and one horn. Okay, all that's left is the little toenails. So just fashion each of these little green pieces that we made earlier into kind of little ovals. I'll stick the middle ones on first. Here, I'll show you in slow motion how I'm making that oval. First, I'm making a ball between my thumb and finger. Then I start rolling it just sideways, and the little ball turns to an oval. And just push those right into place. Make a ball like that, roll it into an oval. Push into place. And Unifred is coming along quite nicely. Once your little monster sculpture is completely done and you have all the details on the way you want him, just make sure he's posed how you like, and then bake him in your home oven following the baking instructions. This guy's got 3 of everything. He's called Tri-Eye, so let's make him. First, you're going to need a couple things from home that are not included in the kit. You just need a sharp pair of scissors and a pencil. You get 3 chenille stems for each monster, but what you really need is 2.5. So go ahead and cut 1 stem in half and give that one to someone else who needs to make Tri-Eye. And these tools we'll use later. First, let's take a look at sectioning the clay. So from the white, we need half of this for his body, and then we need what's left, we need half of that for the head, and then this section should get divided into 3 equal pieces. So to make this a little bit easier to divide into 3 equal pieces, I'm going to make a small rope, just real quick, and then that's easier for me to divide into 3. Those are for the eyes. For the turquoise color, we need to divide this in half as well. And then a third of this will be the tail, and then a third will be other parts. So first let's take off the tail section, 1/3 for the tail. Divide this piece into thirds, or into half because they're already going to be thirds. Then divide this one in half for fingers, and divide this one in half for eyelids. Now Tri-Eye has a lot of pieces, so I'm kind of trying to keep those organized here on my work surface so that I remember what I cut them for. From the remaining half, we need to also divide this into thirds, like so. And I broke my toothpick, so I'll just get a new one. 2 of these are going to be hands. And then a section for the neck needs to be divided in half, and a section for an eyelid, a third eyelid, and then you have a little bit left over as extra. Just set that aside. Next, let's divide the glow-in-the-dark green. So cut this in half, and 1/2 is for the tummy, and then we need 3 nostrils, or a nose and 2 nostrils, and then the black piece, divide it in half. You're going to have a lot of extra black. We just need 1 tiny section to make the pupils in the eyes, and set the rest of the black aside. Okay, time to clean up my hands just a little bit. I've got some of that turquoise color on my fingertips, which is very common that happens, and just wipe it away with a paper towel. All right, I have all my sections done, and so now I want to turn to my step-out instructions for the Tri-Eye monster. First, I want to create all the shapes that are shown in the diagram down here in the bottom. So this big piece is the body, and Tri-Eye's body is sort of a teardrop, sort of a cone. He's got kind of a heavy bottom, and then it goes up to a neck. So I'm conditioning the clay in my fingertips until it gets soft and smooth. Then just roll it into a ball, and then bring the tip up for the neck area and leave the bottom pretty heavy. And that can sit up like so. Then I need the big piece for the head, and condition it and shape it into a ball. And the ball is just a round head. Okay, now we don't put the ball on quite yet because we need Tri-Eye's tail, and we need these neck pieces, and the tail will help balance him. So let's find our tail piece and shape it into a little pointed teardrop. Start with a ball and then roll it sideways to make a point like so. And you can pull the point out as skinny as you would like. And then put this behind the body and push it to make them stick together. Then you can just form the tail right up. Okay, and we need a little piece for the tummy. The tummy is just a little flat pancake on the front. So just roll the bigger piece of the glow-in-the-dark green. Did I mention that all the monsters have glow-in-the-dark clay? So that after you've charged them under a light for a few minutes and you turn the lights off, all these green pieces will glow in the dark. It looks really cool. All right, there's his tummy. Now we need some neck pieces. And they look like this right here. And just shape these into little discs. Make a ball and then flatten it with both of these. Make a ball and flatten it. Then these just get stacked up on the top for the neck. Let's wipe the blue off of our fingers one more time before we move on to the white head. The white head goes on next. And it's just all you need to make these pieces hook together is just a little fingertip pressure. So next let's start with, let's make his nose. So we have those 3 pieces that make the nose and the nostrils. The middle section of the nose can be kind of a long little teardrop, and just put that right down the middle like so. And then the side pieces of the nostrils are just round little balls, and just roll little balls of the glow-in-the-dark green and put these on either side. Now at this point we'll add just a few details in his face. We can put a mouth, and then his nostrils need little holes in them like this. Just poke it in and spin it a bit, and there's his nose. Okay, next we could make all the eyes at once. So make round balls for the eyes. I keep knocking tri-eye down, but that's okay. And then we need these 3 pieces all the same for the eyelids. And the eyelids just kind of wrap around the top of the eyeball. So make kind of a long rope and flatten it. And then just wrap that around the eye, like so. I think I picked up one of the wrong pieces, so. Make a long rope and flatten it, and then bend that around the eye, the eyeball. Then each eye gets a little pupil in the middle, so just cut off enough. You can kind of visually guess how much you need for a pupil. And roll that into a ball and then flatten it right on the front of the eye. There's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, the eyes are ready to go. 2 of them go right on top of Tri-Eye's head, like this, side by side on the top of his head. Now at this point you really want to make sure he can stand up, and it's important for his bottom to be a little thicker and his tail to be positioned in a way that helps him stand. Next, let's make the feet and the toes. From 2 of these pieces we need to make a little triangular shape. Roll a ball and then roll a point and then smash the other side flat, and that gives you a 3-sided triangle. And repeat this for the other foot. roll a ball, pinch a point, flatten the third side, and that gives you 2 triangles. Next we'll make toes to go on the ends. I'll just roll these remaining pieces of turquoise and section them into 3 pieces each, and these will be the toes. And the toes are really just little ovals that stick out the front. And just put them all side by side so that they support each other. Roll little ovals. I'm just rolling a little ball and then turning that into this shape and pushing it on the end of the foot. Okay, now we need to put all these pieces together to make one monster. Cleaning up my hands one more time. For the arm pieces, I'm going to use 2 of the full-size chenille stems. Just hold the stem right to the side of the pencil and twist it. Like so. Do the same for the second one. And then for the little piece on top of the head, it's the half stem. Just twist that around. Okay, now you want to make sure you have a hole in these pieces where the chenille stem can go into place. If you want to, you can bake the chenille stem right in the clay. It won't hurt anything for this piece of chenille to go in the oven. If it's more convenient for you, you can pull the stem out and bake the heads separately and then glue them on permanently after it's baked. Either way will work perfectly fine, and it's totally up to you. If you bake with the arms in place, just poke the other end of the stem right into his body on each side. Poke it in pretty far, like all the way up to the first curl. And then make sure his hands are out to the side so they support his body in the oven. For the third one, I just straighten that out a little bit and poke this into the eye. Ouch! And then straighten the other end out just slightly. And that gets poked right into here between his other 2 eyes. This one might be handier to bake separately and then glue it in, because I'm afraid that might fall over in the oven, but it could go either way. There's your tri-eye monster, and he's ready to go in the oven and bake following the baking instructions.